The purpose of this is for you to be able to calculate parts per billion and million for a solution. Now these terms, ppm and ppb, they mean parts per billion and parts per million. A ratio is how much of one thing to another, and a solution is when you've got a liquid that has something dissolved in it. Now, pictures of a solution. This is the view that you and I can see like at eye level. But if you looked at a molecular level, you'd have these two things, a solute and a solvent. And the reason ppm and ppb are related to these things is they allow you to express a ratio, how much of one chemical there is compared to the whole. Now the reason we want to know this is people express ratios with ppb and ppm, such as lead in your drinking water, and that is 15 parts per billion is acceptable by the EPA standards for drinking water and pollutants in the air, and that's ozone, and that's like 70 parts per billion, 0.07 parts per million. Now the formulas we're going to need are these. There's two of them. It's how many moles of a part to the total moles equals x over a million or x over a billion, and where the total moles, the bottom thing up here, is just basically the 2 moles added up. Now the math involved is your first thing you have to do is you convert your amounts to moles, find the total, and that's simply adding them up, and then you're going to substitute in, cross multiply, and divide. So let's say we've got this problem. What do I know? Well, I know that I've got 3.3 grams of salt, 22 grams of water. I don't know the total moles, and I don't know the individual moles. And I know my formulas are the two that I mentioned above. So the first thing I'm going to have to do is convert to moles. Now, 22 grams of moles, I'd have to use the periodic table and figure out the molar mass, and that's 18 for water, and I'm going to multiply across, and I'm going to get 22 divided by 18, and that's going to give me 1.2 moles. And I'm going to do the same thing with salt, and I'm going to have 3.3 divided by 58, and that's going to be 0.056 moles salt. Now I know these things. I still don't know my total moles, but now that I've got this formula, I can substitute in. Total moles is 1.2 plus 0.056, so my total moles is 1.256. Now the next thing I want to substitute into is this formula. So I'm going to set for salt, so that's going to be 0.056 over 1.256, and I'm going to set that equal to x over a million. And the first thing I want to do is cross multiply, and to cross multiply I really am multiplying these two terms, and I'm going to get 0.056 times a million equals that times x, and then I would simplify, and that's basically write this out. Now the next thing I want to do is divide both sides by this number, the number next to x. So that's what it would look like. These two over here would cancel, and I'm simply going to have to do this division. I'm going to get 44,585 parts per million salt. Therefore, that is my answer.